When you think about video games with live worlds, you might think of big AAA games with in-depth world building like Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild or Red Dead Redemption, which no doubt have great worlds and excellent atmosphere, but do they feel truly alive? Like the entire balance of the ecosystem relies on how they interact with one another? Probably not, as every creature has a predetermined path and a set of actions that make it predictable. But what if there was a game where each creature had a unique AI that was specifically designed to act independently and without a set path of actions, and interacted with the game's other unique AIs that all formed a functional ecosystem that isn't unlike our own? Sounds impossible, but of course I wouldn't be talking about it if it wasn't real. Introducing rainworld, a game with an in-depth story, large variety of biomes and regions, and an even bigger variety of creatures. rainworld is the first of its kind, with AIs that make the game beloved by a decently large fanbase. Each creature has a unique personality, looks, and will interact with others in a variety of ways, depending on different factors. For example, lizards. Lizards are rainworld's most common predator, and whilst being far from the most dangerous, they can certainly be a threat. The kicker here is that lizards come in a range of different subspecies, each one differentiated by their color. The different subspecies have unique traits that some other lizards don't have. For example, take the green lizard. He's fat, slow, too heavy to climb poles, and is the biggest of the different subspecies, barring the red lizard. So clearly, he's not a threat, right? Wrong. Don't underestimate this bastard, as he has a trick up his sleeve. Green lizards can charge forward a small distance, catching any unassuming little slug cat off guard. Oh yeah, the slug cat. Now you might see this thing and think, who's this little guy? He's so silly. The slug cat is the player character, and comes in a range of different species that span over many centuries, with unique abilities and purposes. Some are small and cute, some are fishy and aquatic, and some are murderous genocidal maniacs. The slug cat is also a great source of food for just about every predator in the game. It is only barely above the lowly batfly in terms of the food chain, though these bipedal creatures have somewhat unique ability to hold items and throw them a small distance. They can also fit through small tunnels and perform various tricks of dexterity, utilizing a very big combination of controls. The slug cat's history and biology is shrouded in mystery, but we do know from certain lore drops in Spearmaster's story that it seems that the slug cats evolved from purposed creatures designed to clean pipes, and later became messengers to carry information from point A to B. Whether or not these little guys are somewhat mechanical is unknown, though some of them do seem to have some rather unique abilities that wouldn't make too much sense for an entirely biological being, such as having eyes made of mechanical pearls, or being able to generate spears. We love this little guy. Oh, right, lizards. Like I said before, these guys come in a lot of colors. You got green, pink, blue, camo, yellow, wet, blind, red, jet-powered, caramel-flavored, strawberry-flavored, train, and eel. Each color has its own unique aspect, like green's aforementioned ability to charge forward. Pink lizards are basically the most regular kind of lizard you can get. They don't really have anything special going on, but at least they can climb poles, unlike a certain lion relative. Blue seems pretty unimportant, until they pull out their tongue. These guys can shoot out their tongue like a harpoon to snatch prey from a distance, and on top of that, they will likely be the first lizard you come across that can climb walls. However, they aren't the only ones with harpoons in their mouths. Introducing the white lizard, also known as the camo lizard. These guys have a tongue that can reach over 3 times their size. They can also change color to camouflage, obviously. This can usually catch a slug cat off guard, and combined with their tongues, the only good way to avoid them is to do exactly that, avoid them. Do not try and come in contact and stay stealthy. Their ability to climb, combined with their tongue, gives them a tactical advantage in almost every situation. However, they at least usually like to be alone, and they don't get along with other members of their species, unlike the yellow lizard, which always moves in packs. These lizards are incredibly strange in their biology, as their antenna works as a kind of literal radio antenna, allowing each member of their group to communicate with one another telepathically. This means if one of them finds you, they all find you. Other than this, their stats are relatively average. They're also pretty clumsy and can only communicate with each other so long as the alpha is alive. If the alpha is killed, communication is cut between all of them, though it can be difficult to single out the alpha. Yellow lizards aren't the only ones who like to move in packs though, as the black lizard loves staying with its friends in the deep dark depths of the subterranean. Black lizards are blind and mostly move based on sound. While this makes them more manageable to deal with, it also means they can hear almost any sound you make, and due to their large group sizes, it can be difficult to deal with them. While dealing with lizards who thrive in darkness and nearly pitch-black depths does sound like a bad time, it's nothing compared to the pain of dealing with salamanders. Salamanders are a species of lizard that can swim. Yay, water combat. They come in 2 variants, black and white. and they also have a tongue in case trying to deal with an aquatic death gecko wasn't enough. These lizards are only really found in the drainage system and shoreline, so you won't come across them too often. Thankfully, they don't get much worse than this. Hey, what if we attach rocket boosters to one? Introducing the cyan lizard, an abomination with the capacity to become a firework. These guys are amalgamations of machine and flesh, and have a really powerful jet boost that helps them scale gaps as well as catch prey. They are relatively weak in terms of health, but it is a small price to pay for the outrageous amount of agility they gain. Something to note is that almost all lizards are afraid of the vulture. Vultures are a persistent threat in the lands of rainworld, soaring from the sky and casting a foreboding shadow onto the ground. They hunt most lizards with a few exceptions, such as the green lizard who is too fat to be lifted off the ground. If you manage to hit the base of the vulture's head with a spear, its mask might fall off. This mask can scare away lizards, and it works most of the time. Red lizards are just far too angry to care, and black lizards don't see the mask, so they ignore it. Be careful, however, as a maskless vulture is an angry vulture, and will focus on hunting you down if you steal its mask. Maskless vultures also have a tendency to attack other vultures who have masks. Whether or not this is an act of dominance or an attempt to steal the other's mask is unknown. Vultures can also be summoned using a small worm called a vulture grub, but there's not too many reasons you'd want this. Vultures aren't the only creatures in rainworld to wear masks, as these little goobers also wear masks. These are scavengers, and are one of rainworld's most interesting creatures. Unlike most creatures in rainworld, who just eat whatever they can find and often don't work together, the scavengers are relatively intelligent and have formed a sort of tribal society. They can carry weapons such as spears, explosives, and rocks. They can trade for items, become your allies, and have a variety of jobs and settlements all over the place. Scavengers are smart and work together to achieve their goals. They like to travel in groups, and these scavs are known as nomads and like exploring. They will only see you as a threat if you're holding a weapon. Giving them a pearl or other valuable items may pacify them, but they can be very unpredictable. Some scavs may stay at resting grounds, which are these areas with a large skull sitting on a pole with several pearls hanging from the skull. These are toll points, and the scavengers will ask for a payment for you to pass. Each item has a different value to the scavengers, but a pearl is considered the most valuable item to them, and they will gladly accept it to let you pass. If you try to pass without acceptable payment, they will kill you. Another spot scavengers like to hang around are merchant points. These places are home to many scavs, but the most important one is the one who sits in the middle of the room. He will trade you items that he believes are equal or lesser value to the ones you give him. He has a room in the back, usually filled with scavs and items, but they do not like it if you go back there. Scavenger merchants are more friendly and will often try to escape if threatened, will fight back if given no ability to run away. Scavengers also like to store large amounts of items in secret rooms called treasuries. They keep a variety of pearls, spears, and grenades in these rooms, but they are often not populated by the scavengers themselves. Nomad scavengers will sometimes visit to restock, so watch out for them. Scavengers are so unique compared to other creatures due to their intelligence. Not only do they work together, have different jobs, and even use tools to their advantage, but they can even communicate with one another, and you. They use a variety of simple hand signals to talk to you, saying things like,
"You need to pay a toll, gimme, 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 stay the hell away from me. You can come through."
This makes scavengers one of the most intelligent creatures in the entire game. Well, it's not much compared to these. This is an iterator. What, just looks like a building to you? Let's take a look inside. Oh. This is Five Pebbles. He's an iterator, and his body is this massive superstructure that requires a crap ton of water to keep operational. All of the excess steam he creates leads to a very strong downpour, hence the name of the game being Rainworld. This small figure is known as his puppet, and is a sort of vessel he uses to communicate with others. Iterators are biomechanical creatures, and they are essentially artificial gods. They are incredibly intelligent, and could likely solve any problem. Well, except for the one problem they were built for. You see, in this world, death is not the end. Dying simply means waking up in the next cycle for the loop to repeat. The ancient race who built the iterators wanted a way out, a way to ascend beyond the cycle. So the iterators were built to solve the great problem. Eventually, the ancient race found another way out. However, it was dangerous, and only some of them ascended, and the rest becoming ethereal spectres known as echoes, who are tied to the world and are unable to escape. With all the ancients ascending through this more dangerous procedure, the iterators were left to solve a problem for no one. Eventually, they would fall into disrepair. Five Pebbles would slowly be consumed by the rot, which is essentially robot cancer. and his older sister looks to the moon would slowly be destroyed due to the amount of water her younger brother was stealing from her. This is looks to the moon, by the way. She's a lot kinder than Five Pebbles. She's also far less operational. Iterators are a necessary part of rainworld's ecosystem, as without them, the landscape would completely change. For example, many of the ecosystem's plants and creatures have adapted to the incredibly heavy rainfall, and the world itself has been molded to divert the water flow to the iterators. We actually see what happens if all the iterators in an area become inactive, leading to a constant blizzard and a drastic change to the environment and its inhabitants. As you can see, the creatures of Rainworld are unlike many you see in other games, with their unique AIs and ability to keep moving and acting independently even when the player isn't around. It helps make the world feel truly alive, and that rather than the world revolving around you, you're just making your way through a pre-existing environment that you're just another piece of. I made this video simply to share the wonders of this game, and show how truly fascinating its premise is. I hope you learned something, or was at least mildly entertained. Thank you for watching.